Hi guys, and welcome to Angling For You, and today you join me somewhere special. Now, my God, I haven't been here for 15 years, and I'm going to give you a very brief but little story of how I got into fishing. This place, although it's been through its trials and tribulations over the years, has been probably the most influential part of doing what I do with Angling For You, and I've never had a video on it. I've never shared anything with a channel, with the old channel, anything, and that's just due to such good venues throughout the country. And this one is 5 minutes from my house, literally 5 minutes from my house, and it's called Ackton Pond. The team here, the guys that have looked after it over the last sort of 8 years or more, have really done a lot of work. They've put a lot of stock in, and got the fish size and the fish levels back to an all-time high. So going back 15 plus years, I used to fish it as a member. I used to fish the matches, and the matches were very much of a mixed fishing variety, where you were catching a lot of different silverfish, and carp were very elusive, didn't really catch them in a match, and maybe had the odd tench, and it was mainly about catching hide and catching silverfish to have around a 40 pound, 50 pound weight. That said, in my late teens, early 20s is probably the last time I ever fished it, in my early 20s, and like 37 now. So you used to catch the odd carp, or the big carp. I had my PB at 20 pound 4 ounce as well, at this venue. And what I did is I stopped fishing it, and I stopped fishing it where they had a hard frost, and they lost a lot of fish quite a few years ago, and the people that had it before, it were really sad, and now they've got a new ownership, and they've put a lot of work in and got a lot of great fishing, and there's just tremendous stock of fish, so I've been told. Fingers crossed we'll get into some of those today. I'm going to start an approach of fishing an 8mm pellet with feeding 4mm. I found a bar to my left where it always used to be on peg 19, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to tap them in, fish through the water, and hopefully we'll catch some fish. Now, I probably will get the paste out at some point, but it's just a little different method, and we'll talk a little bit about it when we're fishing, where it's a little different way of approaching it. A lot of time I fish paste all year round anyway, but I do love the paste fishing in the summer, and 9 times out of 10 if I want filming would be fishing paste, but I do understand I don't want to do paste on every video that we've got. So this is another way that I do attack venues I've not fished before, or I've not fished for a long time. Predominantly carp now that they've got in here, so we are going to start that with that pellet attack. So let's get into it, and let's see if we can do some damage and have some fish. Fingers crossed we'll get a few on the bank. So without further ado, roll that B-roll. Right guys, into the first fish that I've hooked at Ackton Pond in 15 years, and it's changed a lot, and it looks like the first fish is going to be a carp. And what we're doing is, as I said in the title, tapping in some pellets and fishing an hard 8mm over the top. It's like a nice mirror to start the day. Nice fish. Kiting over to my right hand side, put a little bit of side on it. Start going hard to try and get round that corner. Get him turning round. little bit of angle on him. So get him hard. And definitely scrap hard, that's for sure. So keeping that pole nice and low. A strong gear, 019, 016 bottom. Proper stuff. And with the 14s up to start with a band. Awful when it pings off the dorsal like that. And I've heard years ago when we used to fish this, there used to be some big old kippers in here, and I've had them up to £20 myself years and years ago. And unfortunately, they lost a lot of fish, but they've really come back and put the money and the time and the effort into the pond. And now apparently there's fish up to £31. I'm not sure if I want to hook that on my pole. But they regularly come out. There's 31 came out last week. I've had a 24 out to 3 pegs to my left today, and they've had some 27s and 25s this week as well. Glyn, while I was setting up, Glyn had an 11. This one doesn't look like a bad kipper, I'll be honest. This one looks a good kipper. So there's obviously some good fish in here. So I'm hoping we're going to have a good session. Paste will come out at some point, I reckon. But for now, we're just going to try fishing these 8mm. And like I said, what I've done is I've just tapping some 4mm in. Tapping some 4mm in and just fishing an 8 on the hook. And it is, I've seen it, it's a mirror and it looks a nice fish. But I can't get it set up now. It's gone for a little jaunt to my right. I'm hoping it's just going to plod around now, and we'll get it in the net shortly. Just can't get his head up, and I don't give him any more. It's a good fish actually. It's a very good fish. Oh, he's in. Woo! Yeah, buddy. That is a good start. Oh, that is a big kipper, boys. That is a big kipper to start the day into double figures. Hooked absolutely bob on in the corner of the mouth. So much so that with these midi hooks that roll over and they're difficult to get out sometimes. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'll try and help it place ball, and we'll pick him up. But he's well into double figures, that's for sure. Well guys, what a start to fishing at Ackton Pond. An absolute unit of a fish. Let's get him back, see if we can have some more. Glenn? You in the same scenario? Nah, it's cool mate, I'll get him back. Right guys, well, phenomenal start to my enter back to the pond I used to fish literally every week in summer. I used to live here in summer. I absolutely used to be here every day. So I'll take a 11 to 12 pounder for my first fish back. That'll do. I'll take any more that want to be bigger than that as well. But yeah, so the method is simple. When I fish a venue that I don't fish or has changed so much like this one has, I tend to do my own work a little bit. I just walked around, met a few people that I used to know, used to fish with, and just ask around. There's a lot of carp in here, so pellets usually are going to be a bait that you're gonna want to try and start with. We've dropped in. Now here's one, like, so a lot of people, with thinking it's summer, they tend to put in a lot of bait to start off with, and sometimes that can work. But when I want to bring a few fish in and I just want to try and pick the odd one off, and a venue that I don't fish very often that's got carp in, what I tend to do is I start by feeding a small amount, maybe 15, 20 small 4mm pellets, and then have a standout, either a 6 or an 8. Now when I was talking to people in, they said that the fish were a decent stamp. My first thought was to go 8mm. Obviously that's paid dividends on that fish we've just had. My other thoughts are obviously paste. Now paste, I'll give that a go, whether that's on camera or not. That I'll definitely be giving that a go at some point today. But what we've done is, it is quite shallow into the edge, really shallow. Now when we were at Thornbank the other day, that worked to our advantage. The fish were in there. Now the fish I'm wanting to target today are double figure fish, or up to that kind of standard of fish. Now in order to do that, they're most comfortable when they're in water that's deep enough for them, so around 2 foot. And what I've done is come away from the bank, because it's still a marginal swim, but I've come away from the bank and I've found a little bit where it doesn't go down like in a super steep hill, it just gradient just goes down. And I remember from years ago there used to be a little bar. Now there's a little bar running across, and I've found around 6 inches where I can feed a little bit of bait, and the fish like to come into it at around 2 foot. And that's what we've done. We've found a little underground feature, and we gently potted a tiny little bit of bait in with a feed pot rather than a cupping kit, and we've potted that in, and we've just gently lowered that 8mm on top of that bar. Now that allows us to try and pick fish off rather than potting in quite a few bits and getting a load of fish in. Now sometimes when you're nearer the bank, that can be an advantage, but when you're not near the bank like we are today, it can be a little bit more difficult. If you overfeed and you're a little bit from the bank, you get fish coming from behind you floating, in front of you floating, you can tend to get foul lookers, and so we're trying not to do that and just encourage the fish to come in, have a little like nosy, pick up the bait, and we're away. They're coming in and out. I'm just trying to lay just small bits of bait for them, and just trying to catch them when they come in. I'm on that bar. Alright guys, that literally, as soon as I laid that in, I'd literally got Glyn stood behind me, and I said to him, what I'm trying to do is lay a trap for him and lower the bait straight into it, and as I said it, it literally buried. Literally as I said it. If only a plan could go together as easy as that every time. And I'm just keeping it out here for a second because that's a good old kipper again, and the last one I did tried to do me right corner, and it did it in such an angle that I couldn't get any more sections from behind me, so I'm going to make sure this one gets its silliness done out here, and then I'll get it on top kit. But it looks like a good kipper again. I'm going to take it off a little bit short this time, so I've got ones to hand, a little bit more to hand in case it starts to go pear-shaped. There we go, it's a beautiful looking fish as that one. Hitting the next one. It's a lovely looking fish is that one. Like I said, about 5 or 6 pounds. Not the longest fish, but it's quite heavy. Beautiful markings and hooked perfectly in that top lip again. Lovely. Up to that, let's lift him up. It's a beautiful little fish. That markings on him is spectacular. Look at that, boys, what a lovely looking fish. Let's get back out there and see if there's any more to be caught. into another fish, guys, and that one was an absolute clonking bite. I'm just looking up to see someone splashing a fish on the other peg and it pulling it out my hand. Great bite. And that's what I mean about that sensitive float. That float is literally, as soon as they pick that up, boom, they're on, and you know they're on. Helps if you're watching the float, that is. But hopefully we'll get this fish in, and then we'll have a look at the rig. And like I say, I'm just letting them plod a little bit out front. It's not a normal tactic that I do, but there is a few underwater snags and it's shallow in close, and there is an easy corner to go around. And it is quite difficult to turn them around when they get there, on there. And like I said, there is some stupid sized fish in here. So if they want to go on the first one, let them do that, and we'll get them into close before we get them on that top kit. I'm just trying to be a little bit wary of my camera behind. Don't want to be giving you a little bit of back of the handle whacking. And hopefully it's light enough for you guys, because we've just sort of picked up a little bit of shadow where we are. That's what I mean by this slip elastic as well. It's a good fish actually, it's a bit bigger than what I originally thought it was, but he's in the net. I must say, that was a little bit of superlative netting we've got there. There's another good fish. And I'd say he's a good 7 or 8 pound. I'm trying to keep that handle slightly out of the way. We'll do, get him unhooked. And again, perfectly in the lip. Just for a second, take a piece of handle off. And we'll see if we can do that, so we can get that out of the way of the camera. See if we can give him a lift up for you. Another nice looking fish. And that's another thing. It's the quality of the fish have been fantastic. All decent looking fish. Make sure I got the net over me. That's another beautiful example. Nice, long, strong. Might be a little bit bigger. About £8, £9. Just a beautiful looking fish. And again, in really good nick. What we'll do, we'll have a look at the rigging close and see how we get on. Right guys, the rig. Now, like I said, it's a red Dura Preston, so it's a hybrid. It powers up like a solid when you've stripped a bit out of it, and it stretches like a hollow. So a really good combination, good for these edge fishing. Now this is a carp kit that I've got it on, one of the Preston roller carp kits. We've got a little Preston cad pot on there, really easy these ones, just slide on and smooth your dacron out, you can slide them on like so, and they grip really well. You can also pull them off, and if you want to just push on the inside, you can do it that way and it nips on, and once they're on, they're on. They come with little inserts and stuff for tapping pellets in, and it's really decent. Now, like I said, the rig is pretty simple. Now, the line is 019, I've got a Guru 0.2 with a wire stem, which makes it nice and stable. It's only a small float though, and I've got a little 11 back shot there, just to sort of keep it down in the water, so with a little bit of wind on today. And I've got another 11 just underneath the float. Now really, I've only got one other shot, and that is a number 8, which is right down at the bottom of the uplink, and that's just to keep it pegged down. It's not very deep, like I said, around 2 foot, and that's down to one of those beautiful 14 Q curves with an 8mm pellet, and I'm going to have a show. Let's have a see if we can find it. We have got them to hand. They're the Q curves, and hopefully you can see them on camera. If not, you'll able to search them. But I really get on with these. MIDI sent me the sort of the whole range, and I've bought them myself before. MIDI actually sent me some, and they're just fantastic, really strong, and I've caught countless amount of fish. I use them for paste sometimes as well. But when we've tied the hair, you can see that it just sits just perfectly against that 8mm pellet, and it can just suck it in, and straight away that hook just turns over and hooks in. It's just absolutely brilliant. Just looking across to the other side now and seeing Glyn, elastic stretching out across the pond, so he looks like he's into another one. So let's get back, try and bag one to finish the video, and hopefully it might be one of those really big ones. This felt heavy to start off with, but I don't think it is again. I think I keep scaring big uns and hooking little uns. Oh yeah, it's only about £4 or £5 this one. Well, it's not as bigger than I thought, actually. It's a lot bigger than I thought. Oh, God. Yeah, like £3 or £4 was the wrong estimate, I'll be honest. That's more like £11. This one's like like a Concord, Glenn. It's a lovely fish, is that, isn't it? It's really good condition, aren't they? On a whole. Into a good fish. As you knew, I couldn't resist the paste. I had to give it a go. This one's going for it. There's this one. we got the 20 hollow, sorry, the 20 Jura Preston's on. So it's super stretchy now, but when we strip it, it'll have be able to get some control under it, hopefully. No idea what size the fish is. They've been a good average stamp, to be honest. I'm not keen to just rag it in because there's quite a load of snags underneath where I am. And I mean, we've only been fishing a couple of hours. Sun's just gone over the other side, so it makes it look dark. But we sort of sat between two trees. But we've come later on in the day just to give it a go, and there's clearly a few fish wanting to give it a go. There's a lot of lads just fishing bite lambs and like teabag sort of PVAs, and they seem to be catching really well as well. So it's like everyone's having a good afternoon. That's what it's about, and that's another thing. If you're going to want to get on here, guys, to fish, you're going to have to be here early. And the rules, they're on the Facebook page, are on there. Certainly not happy about being up to fish. They just go off, and there's some crazy fish in here. You just don't know how big they are. It doesn't feel that big, this, you know. I just don't know. Try and get it closer in on the top kit and see what happens. I'm on strong gear, but I don't think it's a big fish. I honestly don't. But you never know. No. No, it's not a massive fish, only about £5. Trying to get it, not even £5, it's only a tiny thing. Trying to do me big time under this little pallet at the side of me. Trying to do me big time. And he's in the nets. Sometimes you have to, like I said earlier on, stand up to get them under control. Sometimes the littler fish are more savage than the big ones. And he's up perfectly, as you'd expect. And that paste not coming out that hook, that is for damn sure. And with 0.23 on, 22 on, I don't think he were going to pull out either. Lift him up, he's only a baby in comparative to what I've been catching today. About £4, something like that. Let's get him back in. Well guys, if you do want to come and fish Ackton Pond, I do recommend it. I mean, it's definitely been we put some money and stuff into it, and you know, it's a great little place. Do double check though, because obviously they have matches alternated Sundays and stuff like that, so if you want it to get on a weekend, you have to be here quite early. I mean, if you're coming in afternoon, you can probably jump on after a few people have done like sort of a morning to early afternoon shift. That's pretty much what we did. So yeah, it's a great venue, and I'm glad that it's getting back to what it used to be and better, if I'm honest. So if you want to see any of the other videos, join us on the playlist on Angling For You and search for whatever you'd like, and join us Angling For You on the Facebook group, join the matches. They're all for no money, they're just about getting everybody together. If you want to ask questions on there, perfect for that. If you want to go on the Instagram at angling_for_you, then that's also brilliant, and you can see what we can do. And if you like, share and subscribe and join the Angling For You family, that'd be superb. And until the next one guys, tight lines.